Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third edition of Metacast 36. My name is Dory K, and we're here in Krypton again. As you can see, we've gotten ourselves a little bit of a break. We've got our standings showing right here. Horizon Gaming Zenith sitting comfortably in first place, having not dropped a single game. FADRX sitting comfortably in last, having not won a single game. But, still early on in the season. We've still got 4 weeks of regular season to go. 5 matches for a lot of these teams still to go. So I think it's fair to say that things are not 100% figured out. There is some variance at the top and the bottom of the standings, but yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's definitely a good time to be in Krypton division. It's an exciting division with a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get our rankings up. How did the yeah the the preseason power rankings. Remember, at the beginning of the show, I show our predictions from the preseason. We show our predictions from the preseason, and we up here. So Horizon Gaming Zenith, we actually predicted to be in first, and Cafe DRX we predicted last. But the real story is kind of the swinging momentum back and forth in the middle, everywhere else in the middle. Definitely NMU, kind of back and forth, definitely not showing in that second place we put them in at the beginning. So, I mean, there's still a lot of room. There is still a lot of room. Omi Outbreak is climbing. Clown Fiesta climbing. Raijin collapsing. And I'm actually going to show you guys that I do have a little bit of different perspective on the Raijin versus Cafe DRX at the bottom of the table situation. So with that being said, let's have just a quick reminder of what happened in week 4's power rankings. I had Chelsea or Daydreams from Lotus Ink Bullets on the cast for that week. And I decided to trust her judgment. And you know what? I agreed. I agreed with the reasoning, and I thought Lotus Ink Bullets was very strong. But as you can see, some match history links managed to find their way onto my screen. Glitch in the Matrix. My apologies. So with that said, I'm gonna change the power rankings just a little going to week 6. This week, first off, I'm gonna make it say 6. Yep. Week 6 power rankings. Here. Horizon Gaming Zenith have reassumed their position on the top of the power rankings, followed quickly by Sun Leviathan. We've determined that due to events of week 4's matches following week 4's power rankings, that it would only make sense that Horizon still assumes their place at the top, even considering the context of how they beat Sun Leviathan. Yes, Sun Leviathan was sporting 2 subs. Yes, one of those subs was their superstar jungler being replaced by, their lowest ranked player, their support starter, moving to jungle. Why they decided to do that? Who knows? Not very smart, but, it was their decision. Bad planning and bad adaptation in game. I think Horizon's much more consistent, so Horizon gets to go in first. Lotus Ink Bullets. Yes, I'm tempted to put them lower after what happened. No, I am not going to, and I'll explain why as soon as I get to them. Scarlet Vengeance still in 4th. Cafe DRX. Actually, I haven't fixed this. One moment, I have to fix this. I actually put Raijin in 10th, and I put RX 9th. And hold out. I have an explanation. I will make sure to get to that explanation. Okay? So let's just go ahead and move to number 1. Horizon Gaming Zenith. Like I said, egg looks very weird in this font. It's egg. Egg is proving to be a very prolific jungler, playing the early game being incredibly frustrating for teams to deal with. They took a 2-0 against Sun Leviathan in week 4, as well as a 2-0 against DA Obsidian in the stream match of the week. It was pretty convincing, and not too much else to say. They're a very consistent team, and I believe that they are still going to be able to beat Full Power Sun, maybe 2-1 instead of 2-0. I just think that Horizon is very adaptive and good at being scrappy when they need to. They show a lot more upsides in pretty much every part of the game than any other team in the league, so it makes sense to keep them in first. So my apologies for putting Sun and Lotus above them. I will never do it again, and they are losing, I guess. No real downside to the team. So, number 2, Sun Leviathan. Still taking a look at spies. 2 junglers at the start. Coincidence? Who knows? They did take a 0-2 versus Horizon Gaming Zenith, but despite having 2 substitutes on their team, one of which being their best player, they still very much gave Horizon Gaming the hardest series that they've had so far in the first 4 weeks of the season. So that is why they're a firm second place. We're looking forward to seeing them play against Scarlet Vengeance. So yeah, with them playing Scarlet Vengeance in week 6, there's a very real possibility that this could change depending on the result. And in place number 3, we've got Lotus Ink Bullets. Why didn't I place them low? Yes, we have the aforementioned this. But I don't necessarily think that it's that big a deal. So the reason why it looked like there was a problem was game 1, absolute slugfest. Absolute slugfest. And DA Obsidian did a fantastic job of making a composition that clicks R, sticks in a ball, and team fights. Lotus tried to play something a little less conventional. Peacemaker 9669, who I've put as their player to watch, played Blitzcrank game 1. They played a composition that's a lot more difficult to execute on, and it showed. So after a 34.5-minute slugfest, they did finally lose to DA Obsidian's team fighting. And then what immediately happened after was game 2, they got Goomba stomped in 17.5 minutes. Now, I think that's more telling about the mental capacity of Lotus in order to adapt after a loss, and a difficult loss. They're used to winning. They're in this league so far. They're not used to being challenged in any way, and it makes complete sense that when faced with adversity for the first time, a team struggles and isn't able to pull it back. That's okay. I think Lotus is still going to continue to dominate game 1s. They're probably going to go back to doing what they do best while they practice other stuff. And then I don't expect things to change too much. So I'm still going to keep them in 3rd. But we'll see how they do. They're against Raijin this week, so it's going to be a real confidence booster kind of game, you know? And with that, we got position number 4, Scarlet Vengeance. Still going to take a look at Choms. They did 2-0 versus definitely NMUXD, which isn't a massive surprise. Very good for them to stay solidly in that top 4 threshold that we talked about last time. But the difference is they're against Sun Leviathan this week. I think even if they lose, it doesn't really knock them down a peg unless another team really shows up this week. Which, I mean, it's out there. Teams can get their upsets. Clown Fiesta has an opportunity this week to show what they've got. This team is very coin flippy, so maybe the coin will flip heads twice for them today. This week? Who knows? But that being said, Scarlet Vengeance still solidly in 4th. Don't really feel confident putting them higher quite yet, but we'll see how they do against Sun Leviathan. You could see them as high up as 2nd this week. And then 5th, we have the aforementioned Clown Fiesta. I thought it was interesting. This last week against Cafe DRX, it was against Cafe DRX, granted. They played 2 games of Aurelian Soul on Papakurama. And he seemed to contain the map very well and play Aurelian Soul the way you're supposed to. You be very involved on the map. Push your lane and roam very often. It's a difficult champion to execute on, and I do like to see some adaptation from the Clown Fiesta, and I think that unpredictability in draft and unpredictability in play is what can get them results. So I'm excited to see how they do against Horizon Gaming Zenith. Granted, it's a tough hill to climb, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them just pull a random game out of their hats, to be honest. So I'm excited to see them play. I'm excited to see if they can win at least a game. And with that, we have DA Obsidian, who have made their way back up the power rankings. Not going to put them in the top half yet, just because we don't want to know if that is a freak accident. Lotus Ink Bullets, they beat them 2-0. Very good. I explained the reasons why I believe that happened. And I do believe a lot of that comes down to Cowsip Jr. Having a really good showing this series. I'm used to talking about JDK and Void. I'm used to talking to them about the mid-support connection. But in this case, they finally became successful when they incorporated their jungler more often. Yes, they still got lost 0-2 against Horizon Gaming Zenith on stream. I do not think they had figured out their roster changes quite yet. I think that now that they've gotten a little more comfortable with how they want to play, they've been a little bit more successful. Granted, I'm pretty sure they didn't use the roster changed lineup. Yeah, JDK went back to mid, Void went back to support. So they went back to normalcy. The lane change did not work out. It was not what they thought it was going to be. So they ended up playing their original lineup against Lotus, and it paid off. They did well. They did very well. I'm proud to see how they did, and we're hoping to see them in the top half following this week's matchup against Cafe DRX. Should be pretty straightforward. If they lose, we got problems. Well, that number 7, definitely NMU. Why do I have definitely NMU so low when they've been performing? Well, to be quite frank, it's because they cannot take games off the top half of the ladder anymore. Straight up. They aren't showing strides where they need to. They keep swapping Beg for Mercy around. They keep swapping the roster around, trying to play whoever shows up, and it's showing in their lack of coordination. They lost to Scarlet Vengeance pretty convincingly. And it just feels like they don't know what they want to do with these players. They definitely need to make a little bit of a change if they want to stop the slide. And I think that having a good showing against Raijin on stream tonight after this production is going to be a huge deal. So hopefully that goes well for them. That being said, they are against Raijin, real confidence booster kind of game. But then they're against Omi Outbreak, which could solidify their position here. If they do not have a convincing match against Omi Outbreak, then it's free fall situation. Same situation that we had DA Obsidian in just last episode. So let's hope definitely NMU stops the free fall and keeps themselves in good shape. With that, speaking of the devil, Omi Outbreak. Keo Fire, I think champion pool suits the meta right now. I think fist fighting through top lane seems really fun. Counterpick heavy meta, and junglers are enabled more to gank side lanes early. So I think having access to top lane is going to be really beneficial for them. So Keo Fire be pretty cool. Took a 2-0 versus Raijin. Not bad. Omi Outbreak, however, is forced to play against definitely NMU, which is going to be a good one for them. Real close in the power rankings. I don't think it's out of reach, and I think it's their game to take. And then I have Cafe DRX. So let me explain. Cafe DRX's player to watch I have put as Shio, which is, not Shio, Kumiho, which, if I remember correctly, actually isn't bad. Let's look up Kumiho. Platinum 3 player. Plays a lot of jungle and Katarina. That's mid lane. Mid lane Viego. That's mid lane Viego. So I remember just glancing at their match history. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But doesn't play too much solo queue, but here's the deal. Cafe DRX is in the dumpster, right? not a lot that they can do about anything. They're continually hitting their head against the wall and failing. So, how do we stop that? We make changes. I know one team that's making changes is these guys, Cafe DRX, attempting to bring in a sub player, which appears to mid laner, I think. And I think like stability in mid was a big problem for them. So, you know, good on them. They're adding player slots, adding sub slots, and we're gonna hope that they can make some changes and be a little bit more successful this week when they face off against DA Obsidian, which are a massive upswing. They can halt that. They can make it crash and burn. DA Obsidian's momentum can just die. But at the same time, Cafe DRX, again, we don't expect a lot from them, so maybe a game win wouldn't hurt. You know, if they can get a game win, we'll be happy. And with that, pretty much in the same case, Raijin. Raijin has 2 matches this week on stream right after this against Definitely NMU, which is a team, again, a downswing. Take advantage of that. Try to get something. And then their other match this week is against Lotus Ink Bullets, which Lotus is not happy about week 4, specifically like 2 days ago at this point. I don't see them having mercy. So, you know what, Raijin? I would put all of my eggs into preparing for tonight. Make sure on stream you show up. Because if you don't, your season's pretty much over. And I can say the same for Cafe DRX. Against DA Obsidian tonight, you have to show up or your season can just be considered over. I have no player to watch for these guys. Raijin, I don't know. It's hard to watch. It's hard to make a prediction about what to do, who you should play around, but you got to make changes and you got to make changes happen quick or your season's pretty much over. If you can't do anything this week, I'd say it's a good time to consider making changes for future seasons. Don't know if you're playing in other leagues or if you're going to continue to stay in Metashift, but if you're going to stay in Metashift, we need to see some changes, whether that be reducing your point threshold so you go down a division next season, or actually making adjustments to your roster and your play to actually start winning games. Unfortunate. It's hard to talk about these guys at the bottom of the table because I know all these teams do try their best when they show up, but sometimes some teams are just better prepared, especially in a league that's based on a point system, and properly putting things in the proper place in a point system can sometimes be difficult. I'm literally on the lowest point team in the entire Metashift server, and it's showing. We get destroyed. You know, it is what it is. Sometimes you don't work out. So that with that said, we're gonna take a shift in the match of the week and take a look at the top of the table. Like I said earlier, Sun Leviathan versus Scarlet Vengeance is going to be happening this week. I think Sun Leviathan is going to 2-0. I think they needed 2-0 in order to prove their dominance. But I think Scarlet Vengeance has their opportunities. They have their windows to get wins, especially if Sun Leviathan just decides not to use their jungler again. If Spies decides to not show up. I know our boy Macro Beast is back. Macro Beast was on vacation, which is why it took them so long to play another game. But yeah, Macro Beast will be back. Spies should be playing, pending no more natural disasters. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 Sun Leviathan without lacking much confidence about that one. So that being said, we're going to head over to our weekly predictions to end out the cast. Raijin, 0-2, definitely NMU. I explained that. Definitely NMU. Needs to stop the free fall. Tonight on stream, I expect a quick 2-0. So hopefully we can get our casters in and out since this stream is going to be starting a little late. You could probably see already we started a little late tonight. Sun Leviathan, 2-0 versus Scarlet Vengeance. Pretty straightforward. I just explained why. Definitely NMU. 2-1 OME Outbreak. I think OME Outbreak is in a make or break situation, no pun intended. They need to start getting some wins under their belt, and definitely NMU is the target to do that too. Clown Fiesta 1-2 versus Horizon Gaming Zenith. 10. Horizon hasn't lost a game. Why do I think Clown Fiesta is going to do it? Unconventional, unpredictable Clown Fiestas. They really hold true to their name. There's a good chance it's just a 2-0, but you know what? I'm tired of just, feeling like I'm going to take the safe bet. So you know what? Clown Fiesta, get me one game win. Come on. No, you don't have to 2-0. You don't have to 2-1. Just win a game. Just win one game. Make Horizon sweat just a little bit. And we'll be happy. With that said, Lotus Ink Bullets, unfortunately, Raijin, you are going to be the target of whatever they're doing to every opponent following their loss to DA Obsidian. So, apologies. You're the next victim for them. And DA Obsidian 2-0 versus Cafe DRX. After their good showing, they're on momentum. Cafe DRX probably going to get dumpstered. Do I want Cafe DRX to have a Cinderella story? Of course I do. But it ain't happening. Sorry, guys. DA Obsidian 2-0. It'll be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And again, thank you guys for catching Metacast 36. We got our stream coming up right after this. Our production featuring our great casters, Nyarko and TDS, yet again. Don't forget to follow twitch.tv/MetaShiftLeague. If you want to catch your Krypton games and they're not on the Metashift League Twitch channel, make sure follow me as well. Twitch.tv/IamDoryK. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate everyone stopping in to check the predictions each week. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm really excited for how the second half of the season's going to go. Let's get these back up. Standings again. This is going to be an exciting week of games, and it's going to tell us a whole lot about what to expect for the playoff picture as we approach that time where teams are legitimately thinking about like where they're going to be standing and who they're going to be playing against. So that being said, thank you all for watching yet again. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next week for another edition of Metacast 36. Bye-bye.